Hello and welcome to Flower Philosophy. This is Aunt Gina, and I said if my show helped one person that I would continue. So when I go home, I watch my show on YouTube, and yesterday I was having a struggle with loss of a loved one. You know, that's always difficult, right? I deal with it every day or every other day when I'm sending out a lovesick bouquet or I'm sorry bouquet. So I deal with that a lot. I'm a victim of it, and I've been so sad. And I went home, I watched my show, and I did my hair all strange and anything to make me laugh, because laughter, of course, is medicine to the body. And I went home and I watched my show and laughed. And today I woke up with a better attitude. I didn't throw mud like I've been doing, which is wrong, because my show, Flower Philosophy, is about helping America, helping the individual become a better person, and I need to start with myself. So I'd like to talk first about the pink rose. The pink rose right here, which I took off the guard petals. All roses come in from Ecuador with the guard petals. Those need to come off of the flower. Sometimes people will come in and they'll want to see the flowers and the coolers, and I tell them, I say, well, you're seeing the dough. It's like before you make a cake, you've got dough. Well, that doesn't really look like the cake, the final product, and same with the roses. They need to be cleaned. So I go ahead and I remove the guard petals and look at this magnificent glory. And I want to tell you something very important about roses that you may not realize, that I know for a fact. Because roses are the symbol of love, and of course love is the most powerful thing on the planet. Love is a power. This right here is the water tube, and I use the largest water tube so that the rose has enough to drink. They do drink quickly as soon as they warm up. And I have an example how powerful the rose is. Roses have healing power. And when we send roses, we are sending this power. And when my uncle, John, in New Jersey, was very sick, 6 months, suffering from Lyme disease, they had lots of deer. He lives in Morristown. I don't know if you're familiar. I'm from Short Hills, and in those areas, there's lots of land, especially back then. And in the course of owning Dial-A-Rose, I knew how sick he was, and this was my favorite uncle, wonderful man. And I thought, you know what, I got to do something. So I packaged up a dozen roses with some mixed flowers in a FedEx tube, and I shipped it to him, just to surprise him, to make him feel good, because I understand what that's like, to get a flower bouquet and someone's thinking of you. It's a big deal, especially if you're not expecting it. It's not a birthday, it's just because. And he said to me, the moment he opened the box, he was healed. And I've always remembered that about roses, that they have healing power. And that's what I'm telling you. I've created Dial-A-Rose. I was a very young girl. I was 22 when I first started. I could imagine how green I must have looked to some of those suppliers, because I look at 22-year-old children now. Of course, they're children to me. They look like babies to me, and I look at them and I think, oh my gosh, I was so young and so naive and so green and all of those things. But, you know, I never thought for a minute that I wouldn't be selling roses for the rest of my life. I had made that commitment when my brother gave me the idea, Dial-A-Rose, and I went, wow, that's what I want to do forever. But being young and being naive, you know, you don't know failure. You just wake up in the morning and do your business. I lost my train of thought. I have a text coming in from a cub. So this particular cub, he's much younger than me, and I look at him and, you know, he looks like he's still teething. You know, the older we get, the younger the children look. I'll go to the dentist, and the dentist will look like, you know, he should be still in high school. So let's see what he says. This wonderful cub. He's so sweet and so complimentary. I'm too old for you, my angel. I'm 17 years older, And I appreciate the compliment. That's such a wonderful compliment. But when we become so much older than somebody else, we have to realize that we have the ability to manipulate and to get what we need, because we're so much older. So we have to be careful of that. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be sensitive and careful about my brothers and sisters, because being the best person we can be, we have accountability. And the accountability is to our Father in heaven. And believe me, I have indisputable proof that our Father in heaven exists. And He is there, and He is kind, and He is loving. And we need to connect to Him and stay connected to Him. And that's very possible by how we act and by our requests. But He is there just like Dad is there or was there in our life. Roses have healing power, and that's really the message for this morning. I'm waiting. So I just got this monster order, very large order, but he always orders big. And when somebody orders big like this, they mean, when they spend that kind of money, they mean big. They want to make an impression, and flowers do make an impression, and they have the ability to create memories. I don't edit any of this. So, rose petals mean hope, and I have so much hope for America. I have hope for myself that one day I won't be in pain. However, if pain brings about good things for other people, then I'm in. So I was talking about the healing power of roses, and they do have healing power. And the service that I created, Dial a Rose, I did when I was so young. I was just so young that I didn't know any better. I never thought that I wouldn't continue. I just thought this was what I was going to do for the rest of my life, until someone said to me, "What if you fail?" And oh my gosh, I never thought of that. But I was too young to know anything better, that this could happen or that could happen. I just got up in the morning and I went out and walked the walk, and did that 3 times a week, 5:30 in the morning. Now, Los Angeles County is different than South Florida. You can't go and, flyer or do stuff like that here. First of all, it's too hot. It rains a lot. We're in Southern California. It was a little bit different. Anyway, I made it where you can send flowers for $19.84, because that's the year that I started, and I do that so that everybody has the opportunity to send flowers. And I always thought, well, I can have a really low minimum so people can send flowers often and see the love bug. And I used the love bug for a reason. Now, that, of course, was my original college Volkswagen Bug that I started the business with. I had no idea that it had such a deeper meaning till I was a little bit older, and find out that the Army in World War II, our enemies, used it for something in war. And I want to use the love bug for love. And, I know that children go punch buggy, white, no punchbacks, because I was raising 2 children, and they used to do that all the time. And I remember as a child, being in New Jersey, we used to do that also. And my thoughts are a little scattered today. I want to change the way that I do flower philosophy. Yesterday was kind of silly and fun, but today I'm a little bit more serious. I'm a little bit more melancholy. I think that when we experience sadness or trauma, we go through of course, the initial grieving stage, and then we go through the anger stage. I think I'm going through the acceptance stage. And I have to tell you, having my friend who's cute and adorable and throwing me compliments helps. I think if we could be kind to each other and attentive to those that are suffering, that's probably what I need to do a little bit more of. How can I help others? Well, I am helping somebody have some type of income during these very hard days, so that I feel good about. I'm making sure I perform my job for others to the very best of my ability. You can see I'm doing this bouquet kind of rapidly. The courier will be here. I try and give each bouquet 40 minutes. I know that sounds like a lot of time, but some bouquets I get a phone call, I have to write message cards. Sometimes the message cards literally are 5 pages and in Spanish or something where I have to rewrite, and that's a lot of work too. So I have to be prepared at all times for the person who needs something quickly, like this gentleman. I mean, they don't want to wait 5 hours for their flowers. They want to wait 20 minutes if they could, but I always give a 2-hour turnaround to get their bouquet, because that's how I have set up the business. That's what we're very good at, and that's why I'm always harping on every show to be organized, because if I were not organized, I wouldn't be able to get this bouquet out within a 2-hour period. I have a system of operation, and that's how we have to conduct our lives, according to a system of operations. And that's also how we have to conduct our relationships. Each relationship has its own category and its own place in our life, and we have to be respectful of that. Every single human life is valuable, not just the ones that have a few dollars in the bank. However, some of those people who have the few dollars in the bank are very generous and kind, and they deserve accolades. Some people, they don't have that, but they do have time, which is an amazing resource, and that time can be given to others as part of our giving lifestyle, because it's in giving that we experience true joy. And that's just the way it is in our human nature. You know, I know that I experience it all day long. I don't know. I'm just really excited about my little show and where it's going. And, you know, a lot of people, you know, you bring up the God word, and they're like, oh, you know, we don't want to talk about that. I have people like that. The last gentleman that you know, whatever you want to call him, was an atheist. And I understand that, and I'm tolerant of all religions, and that to me is a religion in itself, and it was learned behavior. His father was the same way. I'm not an atheist. I know God exists because I've had specific experiences, as maybe you have too, that indicate otherwise. He is there for us. He is our Father, and He is directing us if we would allow Him to do that. And I think I've been